Good morning everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Monday, August 20th, 2018. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. You'll notice here the ES has been trending up overall, continues to hold above the 2791 key level. That's been a very important key level for a very long time, ever since it was the FOMC key level on June 13th. It was very important, and you can see how price has honored that level so far. We didn't quite get as low into that level on this last dip. That kind of shows the strength of the market, but again, as I mentioned before, this previous month's high very important. Right now we're just kind of going sideways at these highs with an upward bias. This market continues to have an upward bias, and until proven otherwise, it will likely continue pushing higher. We are getting toward the upper end of this range. Again, the highs of the year just above, that's that 28.78 half. That's basically the high of the year. So we could continue right into that zone before we see some sort of pullback. We could also just continue sideways in this range with an upward bias again and see what happens here. So we have an upward range, upward trending market. Continue to look to defend pullbacks until proven otherwise. And overall, the market continues to show at least a sideways to up bias and has not violated any key levels. So until that happens, we got to continue to be mostly bullish, and on these counter trend rotations, take what the market gives you, and that's been the motto in our trading room. All right, let's take a look now at the NQ. Right here you can see again, this one has been very bullish as well. This one has honored its trending structure of the channel very nicely right there. That's the lower boundary, the upper boundary somewhere in this zone. And again, we're kind of in the lower edge of this range here, forming kind of a flag pattern, and that could release the next major squeeze. If you look across tech right now, there are a lot of big names that have formed, lots of rejection tails after Friday's session. So a lot of big names in tech could be ready to move to the upside. Things like Apple, Google. There's lots of semiconductor stocks that look very, very bullish with those rejection tails. Above 74.50 here could start to really open this thing up to the upside. We have kind of a downward sloping channel developing, and a break of that could open up quite a bit of upside. Any failure to hold recent lows, 7,300, opens up a retest of these prior lows. But again, this market has been trending up, has not taken out lows in quite a long time. So until proven otherwise, this market remains bullish, even though there is a slight downward bias to this market right now. We could even see another drop. But as I mentioned before, pullbacks likely to be defended. The next major spot would be around this low between 7,200, 7,214. That could be an opportunity to return it back towards 7,500. So right now, keeping an eye on this range, trying not to get chopped up. Alright, taking a look now at crude oil. Now I have this set to a 3-day range right here, and you can see how narrow the developing 3-day range is. Right there, that's the current bar. It's a 1.33 points there, so $1.33 of range. It's been averaging 289 of range, so it's trading 43.5% of ADR. It still needs to finish today's action. But basically, that's a very narrow range right here. Super narrow, tightly coiled price action. If you look at the 512 tick chart with the PivotBoss bands, very clear compression happening, a pinching phase, which suggests that we could see expansion soon. So what I would do here is watch the range here above recent highs here. That would be a pretty solid area to watch for a squeeze back up. That's going to be the midpoint 65.71, the recent high here 65.76. So if this thing starts to break 65.80, we could have a stop run that takes us quite a bit up, perhaps back towards 68s and the previous month's close. Likewise, if this thing were to break up but fail, then that could leave behind a failed new high very similar to that day, which leads to the next major push downward. This market has been very heavy. It has not found the bid. It's been very reluctant to go higher. The downswings have been punishing. And again, if this market can't get higher, that's going to be my guess right now, Below 66.30 suggests more downside. So if this thing pushes into 66.30, watch for rejection. If there's rejection into that area, that could be an opportunity to sell it down into the next pivot low, which is going to be 63.40 and perhaps even lower. So that's the idea this week, watching this compression, and let's see which way it unwinds. I wanted to take a look also at the YM. Very strong move we had here recently. We talked about this just in time off the bounce off this level. We weren't quite breaking through these highs. Nice continuation we've seen ever since. We are coming into a major LVN right here. That's about the 25.8 level. That could provide a little bit of headwind there, but any pullback right now still a buying opportunity until proven otherwise. Failure to hold this close and this high here, that would be a rejection of these highs and would easily open up a return back toward lows, likely back toward 24.8. So if there's a failure to hold these levels, we could be headed to about right there. So for those bears that are eager to look for some signs of rejection, that's the zone to watch. For Bitcoin, lastly, we are compressing significantly. You can see the range here, very tight compression. That's what happens just before you see the pop in most cases. Again, we've been on top of this one at this support area since the beginning of the year. We had it projected from this key level. We had it projected as a major target, 6,700, and that was in December. So last December, after the first 5 days, we projected 6,700 as the next target, and then it got there eventually. And since then, it has been our area to watch for a bounce each and every time. The problem is that the bounces have gotten smaller and smaller. So again, like I mentioned last time, let's not overdo the target. In this case again, still holding 6K. This was the buy day. We have a shot to see 75.25, and I would say as high as 8,200. That's VPOC, but right now I think a better target would be about somewhere between 7,500 and 8K. And this thing is coiling up at the moment, and it's ready to blow. So at some point over the next few days, we could see a day like this right here where it begins a transition phase through 6,700 and into the next upside target, somewhere between 8,000 and 8,200. All right, that is it for now. Let's see how this plays out heading into the new week of trading. Good luck and trade well.